Good morning. I'm Catherine Ross, and I'm joined by Jim Cramer. We're bringing you the show via Skype this morning in our efforts to do our part of social distancing. Jim, what's top of mind for you this morning?
Well, top of mind is that I've been saying that unless oil bottoms, you're going to have a lot of problems with this market. Just remember, we've got two problems. We've got COVID and we've got oil. And now with the news that the Saudis and the Russians may cut back on production, the Saudis calling for an OPEC plus meeting, maybe we can get rid of one of the two big problems that are plaguing us. Now, I think that you should lighten up on the oils because remember, there's a demand side issue. But if we can make it so that we don't have massive bankruptcies and we draw the line, say, at Whiting, then what's going to happen is a principal reason why you don't want to own the banks, which is bad oil loans, maybe gets taken off the table. So this could be the first break since we first had the big downturn, which was simultaneous oil, obviously not as important as COVID, but oil and COVID. And that would be just terrific. I mean, oil gains accelerates now up 21%. And this is, a remarkable thing in the sense that the president listened. And the president, I think he had to understand that he had to drop the whole theory that he had, which is that the American people want lower gasoline. Yeah, of course they want lower gasoline. That's always been his rap. But they want jobs more than they want lower gasoline. And they want the banks to be solvent versus having 99 cents at the pump. And he's got it. And I think this is really important. My friend Joe Kernan broke this story. And I think it's remarkable because what happens is if you've got this off the tape, he spoke to Putin, we know he spoke to Putin, to the Saudis, then I think you have a chance for a run here. And it's funny, yesterday I started my show, my Mad Money show, with something that says, listen, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I'm asking you to sit tight. I don't want you to sell. Let me give you the contrarian about why not to sell. And I was very defensive about it. I felt like maybe I'm being too much of a Pollyanna, but I just didn't want people to sell. And I said, if we get any news on oil, we're really positive, we got to scale on oils. This is why you have to stay in unless it's systemic. And I have felt that this COVID was not systemic because I believe that the scientists are going to come up with something. And I read all the articles from public health officials, and they're all bearish. They all say 60% of the world's going to get it. And hey, maybe a huge percentage get it. But I've had two CEOs on in the last 24 hours, Glenn Fogel from Bookings and Manny Chirico from PVH. And they have it, and they're working, and they're doing okay. So the stories are horrible. I feel terrible. And anyway, I have friends who've lost relatives. I have friends who, my wife has friends who've died. It's absolutely horrible what's going on in New York, and I know that these other places are going to have it really badly. But I sensed that there was some optimism here. It starts with oil, and maybe some of these trials that we're seeing all over the place work. So staying the course once again turned out to be right. And if you don't like what's going on in the market, you're getting your chance right here, right now. Take it. Okay, I'm not, but you're getting a nice uplift. Take it if you are scared. Take it if you need the money for health. Just take it. But understand that the idea of just throwing the market away because you're bearish was once again very wrong.
Yeah, and one point that you made and you touched on right there, Jim, was the fact that there's such a distinction between the coronavirus cases. It's either that you're okay, you're asymptomatic, you might have a mild case, or you're in the hospital. Like there's quite a range here, and I think that we need to reiterate that to our viewers that the media isn't necessarily being sensationalistic by reporting on the bad because it's such a wide range that we're getting. But Jim, let's focus on.
Well, I keep hearing it was a very good piece. We're trying to make a trade here. It's the only reason why. When I do this, it is typically because I'm trying to make a move. Oil's up $5. That's unsustainable. But I'm just trying to scale out of something. Just a sec. I'm actually going to say no to a scale out. And if you watch our club video, you'll know exactly what I'm thinking about. I'm saying wait until it goes higher. That's a tease. People should belong to the club. I don't know why they don't. I pour my heart out to this club, and we have two great people, Jeff Marks and Zev Fimo, who are pouring their heart out every second. And I think that you get the bulletin about what I'm just discussing. So why the hell wouldn't you want to pay for the darn thing? because it's the same level of concentration I gave to my hedge fund. Anyway, where the hell were we?
I just mentioned how there's such a wide range of coronavirus cases from asymptomatic to mild to severe.
Did you see that there was a piece yesterday in the Times which talked about the intensity with which you get it? If you're on an airplane, maybe you get it because you're sitting next to a person in a confined area. If you're sitting and having a cup of coffee with somebody versus a casual, much less casual exposure. And the less casual, the more casual, the less likely that it's severe. And that's important. By the way, another thing that the CDC really screwed up on, it's really becoming clear that if you wear a mask, it's better. And certainly if you are sick, it's better. But also if everybody wears a mask, then there's no stigma that people are sick. So I think the no mask was stupid, but it came from the fact that we don't have enough masks. And I'm not saying anyone's lying, but I am saying if you wanted to make this thing as poorly run as possible, well, you'd have to work hard to figure it out. I mean, where states bid against each other, where we don't know whether ventilators really work, where we don't have the right mask, where we're not supposed to wear a mask, where maybe we're supposed to wear a mask, where there's a state lockdown, where there's not a state lockdown, where there's mayors telling you to go celebrate. I mean, we learned absolutely nothing from the 1918 pandemic. I know the president is very proud of himself that he shut down China. I know that because he said it about 450 times. What I care about is now. And what I feel like is now is that I've done more work than they have. And that is ridiculous. I am a damn journalist.
Jim, I just want to say really quickly that before we move on to our next question, that I do think that one thing to highlight is the fact that there was so much convoluted research here with the mask and also with symptoms and how it's spread. Like we started getting all these different reports from different researchers who had found various things, and now we know that it can last on cardboard for up to 72 hours, but before it was like 12 to 24. Like I think that there was a lack of research here to begin with, and then we were playing catch up. So I just wanted to put that out there.
I had a piece today about ventilators, and Governor Cuomo said that 80% of the people on ventilators die. Okay, well, maybe that was the information, yes, but that's not been confirmed by any source. There are the hydroxychloroquine, the Plaquenil. It is clear that you should take it unless you have a heart arrhythmia, because there are people I know, many people starting to know people who took it when they first started and they got better. But somehow we keep waiting to hear, okay, well, what's the test? What's the test? I'm tired of that. Okay, here's the test. You're going to die. All right. When a patient's going to die, if they don't get it, you give it to them. But, there's very little common sense being applied here. Yesterday, the big story was, were the ventilators that Elon Musk gave, were they really ventilators? I mean, the guy he's got ventilators from China, and he's bringing them in. The level of picayune analysis that we're getting is shameful. And I still respect Dr. Fauci, and I respect Dr. Gottlieb, but I would like to know what Dr. Fauci would sound like if he were unfettered. If he were able to say, here's what's really going on. Because I've got to tell you, we are being let down as people by our leaders. And they are so full of it that they think they're doing a good job. How about some humility? How about, I got this wrong? How about, I didn't see this coming? How about, you know what, I wish you had more of this? How about, I'd like to unite, and then after we will do some critical analysis. It's going great. It's going great, everybody. Because you know what? I'm afraid to die like everybody else, okay? And you know why I feel that way? Because there is so much fear generated by their disorganization, their lack of rigor, that they have made everybody feel like that it's just that the day of reckoning in their lives has come. And that is horrible. That is horrible. They've made this worse than World War II. And they've learned nothing from the Spanish flu. They should at least read a book or watch The American Experience. But I'm getting tired of it. And everybody's afraid to speak because there's such tyranny if you speak out. But someone has to. I might as well do it. I have seen shameful behavior with no humility, just people who really don't know what the heck they're talking about, telling you that whatever's working isn't really working, or this is anecdotal, not offering us any hope. And you know what? I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the no hope rap from our leaders or the we're doing great hope. Because I don't know, you read the article in Atlantic, you'll see that Quest Diagnostics sat on all the tests, and all these people probably, so many of them probably died because of it, and you wouldn't know it unless Atlantic had done a look at it. Until Abbott came along, there was no serious testing, no turnaround. Where are all those parking lots, the CVSs, the Walmarts, the Walgreens that we were supposed to be able to get tested at? Where is everything? Where is the person who can say, Mr. President, you have said this and this and this and this, and have him not tell you, shut up, you're from the mainstream media, or go to hell, you're from CNN. Oh, my.
That's one point that I think that you just hit on that is very important, which is thank you, media, for continuing to bring us all the latest on the coronavirus and covering all of this, because this pandemic has, as you said, there's a lot of information floating out there. So, of course, thank you to all of the journalists who are doing hard work.
The New York Times has been great. They've been unbelievably good, and they are maligned at every turn. Okay, I tried to get a job at the Times. Fortunately, at one point, I was able to do some writing for the Times. The Times has never been better. And you know what? If I have to hear that the mainstream media has put up lies about COVID, there are many things I disagree about with the New York Times, but their COVID coverage is so nonpartisan, so straight down the middle, and so great, and that it has made me feel less endangered because it gives you facts to confront the fear. So there are other networks that I think there are some people who are sensational, trying to make their name on this thing. But the Times has been great, and the Times makes me feel like that there's hope for this 65-year-old, whereas the government makes me feel like there's no hope.
Jim, let's talk about some more facts, and that's the unemployment numbers that we got this morning. 6.6 million Americans filed for unemployment last week. Is this proof that the lawmakers need to get us phase 4?
No. Phase 4 comes when we're out of money with phase 3. I know that I have a view about what needs to happen. They need to have not a traditional infrastructure bill, because those are all lousy. They don't work. You can call it an infrastructure bill because that makes both parties agree with it. But that's 5 guys sitting around on a bridge waiting for a piece of steel that we don't make, probably from China. If you're going to do a so-called infrastructure bill, let's try to make it be a bill where you can learn how to make everybody have 5G so that they all can learn at home at the same time. Let's make an infrastructure bill for the new economy, not the old economy. Yes, there's some airports that need to be made better, but no one's flying anywhere. I think the so-called infrastructure bill has to be about making it so that there's something that creates demand. Because we don't have any demand right now, and that's what we need to do. I don't know how you make it, an infrastructure bill where we build as many ventilators, an infrastructure bill where we put up, how about this, 100 new hospitals that we obviously needed for the next time when we have this. How about an infrastructure bill that makes it so that we have all the masks that we need and the gowns, and instead of just having to live by charity, or an infrastructure bill that targets, say, 10 industries that the Chinese have taken from us, and we bring them back. All right, we need targeted, intelligent infrastructure. And I can tell you one thing, it will never happen because my view is commonsensical and I'm owned by no one and I don't play for dinner. But that's how you do infrastructure, not the stupid, crooked, corrupt way that we're going to see it. Because that's what we all now expect from the U.S. government. And that's what the U.S. government is the best government that money can buy. And we're all tired of it. And we're tired of being endangered by it. Tired of being endangered by some Florida governor that wants to have people on the beach because of commerce. Tired of the almighty buck and how everybody's got to get rich. And I think that the people who have done exceptional work are business. Government has let us down to the point that it's just disgusting. But business has shined again and again and again, because business is the greatest source of change. It is the greatest platform for social change. This is a new paradigm, and people have to recognize it. The government cannot be trusted. Government is about profit. Government is about making money. Government is about getting rich. Business is about helping people. What a change.
Jim, we're going to get the jobs report Friday.
I mean, come on. Do you not see it? That the government is run by fools and that business is run by caring.
I see that there's a lot of back and forth in the government, and there's a lot of discussions and compromises that are being made that make it so that there's more time being spent in meetings per se instead of action. I do see that.
They want money. You go into government to make money. And what a tragedy. This is not the government that when I was growing up with, that you went in it to do good. You go into business to do good. You go into government to make money. This is late stage capitalism like it should never be when it comes to the government, not when it comes to business. And I find it revolting. You have a Manny Chirico one from PVH, and what is he doing? They have no customers. All their customers are closed. They're retailers. So he takes one of his factories and he makes gowns and he makes masks and he gives them to the fabulous Montefiore Hospital in Brooklyn and its complex. I mean, that's government. That's government, except for it's not. It's PVH. I mean, that's what Bob Kraft, when he takes a plane, he goes over to China to get the stuff because the Chinese took all these jobs away. But he's bringing the mask back. Mark Benioff behind the scenes has saved more people's lives than the president, than the federal government.
And PepsiCo's
doing fabulous.
PepsiCo's putting money to work. They're putting $45 million to work around the world, with around $15 million of that being allocated to North America specifically.
Chuck Robbins, $225 million. The government should learn from no, the government's irredeemable. The government's irredeemable. At least if Trump raises the price of oil, save some oil, save us from big layoffs. But we deserve better from our government. But I am really, truly believing that if you go into government these days, you're going in to make money. And it is just awful.
Jim, let's talk about this jobs number that we're going to get tomorrow. Is this just an appetizer for what's to come?
No, this one's too soon. There was still too much frolicking, jolly gallivanting, because our governments, like Mayor de Blasio, were telling you, remember, everything is just dynamite and you should just be having a good time. As the government led us to that. And it is really the shame of the government is going to be revealed by the fact that the number's not going to be that bad. The claims this week were really incredible, 6.6 million. That shows you what's really going to come in. It won't be this number. It'll be the next number.
Let's go back to business a bit. So the oil CEOs are reportedly going to gather at the White House tomorrow. And I'm wondering if this is just a political stunt or if investors really should be keeping their eyes on oil, especially after the headlines that we just got.
Yeah, Trump just spoke to my friend MBS, Saudi Arabia, spoke with President Putin. I expect and hope that they'll be cutting back approximately 10 million barrels, maybe substantially more, which, if it happens, would be great for the oil and gas industry. That will be. He's really finally figured it out, which is that the oil and gas industry needs to be preserved. There's too many bankruptcies coming. It's why the oil stocks did so badly in the last quarter. He needs, if gasoline goes up 25 cents, and he can save a couple of companies with oil up $5, that would be fantastic. Because right now we're in a situation where I'd say, as Scott Sheffield says, who's the CEO of Pioneer, that we're going to lose a huge number of oil companies. So here we have Diamondback, which was down like 75%. That's up $6 today. That's terrific. How about Apache, which was the worst performer? Apache is up $1. So these stocks are coming back. Now, if you own these stocks, own any of them tomorrow, you do some trimming because now you just got all the good news. And it's probably just, in the end, maybe too much hype. Not today. Let them run, because what we have is algorithms that make it so that the end of the day is usually the high, and you can take advantage of that. So tomorrow would be the day you'd let go of some oil. What you have to recognize is because the algorithms are so ridiculous, the NASDAQ benefits tremendously. I know it sounds too stupid for words, but you can hold on to the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ's a great place to be. And I am going to execute the trade right now.
And we're going to talk about that over on our Action Alerts Plus Daily Rundown show. But before we get to that, Jim, I've got one final question for you today. And that is, you've talked a lot about stay-at-home stocks. And I want to ask you about the big brands that are bringing delivery to you. I'm talking about Chipotle. I'm talking about Domino's. Pizza Hut. Are those stocks to invest in at this point? Yum, Chipotle, Domino's.
Everything in this market is actually very much case by case. So Domino's, yes, they've got a terrific delivery system. They will be a winner over time. When the market's up, they go down. That's a good sign. That means that they're going to make it through this. This is what I call a minor chord rally. The major chord will be a Domino's coming through. The Pizza Hut is owned by Yum. They're doing terribly. Forget about it. You don't want to touch Pizza Hut. You don't want to Yum if it gets to 3% yield maybe, but Yum has got a combination of restaurants that people don't really want to go to right now. The Chipotle is absolutely yes. They've been through hell with airborne food illnesses. They really know what they're doing. That stock is a buy at 600. I think it's really, really terrific. I don't really want to own McDonald's till it comes down more, but it's close. It's close at 150. I think it would be pretty good. The old CEO was terrific. And I think that you look at Grubhub, and there the competition's too great. I do a lot of I had bookings.com today, and restaurants there's 54,000 restaurants, and almost all are closed from OpenTable, which they own. Grub has got vicious competition from DoorDash, which was what my restaurants use. I'm going to be applying tomorrow for the money that you get from small business, which I'm looking forward to because we're keeping our people on payroll. That whole industry, until Uber blinks, you don't want to touch any of those if they were to come public or if they're already public.
All right, Jim, as always, thank you so much for all of your insight. And we are now heading over to our Action Alerts Plus daily rundown show over on actionalertsplus.com. Jim's done a really good job at telling you what we're going to be covering. They just made a trade, so it's pretty exciting. You're going to want to see it. I'm Catherine Ross, and we will see you tomorrow.